Here's how to hit close range sniper shots very effectively in Fortnite Chapter 3. So you can see that it's a 1v2 scenario and the guy in the gameplay is actually going to pop a med miss just so he can get that extra bit of health. And this is very important because if you're going to trade with a sniper, it's very beneficial to be on 100 or more health, because that way if he body shots you, it's not going to completely eliminate you. So he's looking around, he opens with a Dorito edit and he looks around to see where his opponent is. He notices his opponent is on high ground, which makes it a very awkward angle for him to win that fight. And the sniper is going to do the most damage. So he has a right hand peek, takes the body shot, follows up with the AK and actually knocks him. So that way it makes it very easy for him to regain high ground and actually win this fight. Here's how to win fights off spawn when you have terrible loot in duos. You're going to notice that these two guys are playing such a compact playstyle, but one of them does make a flip on this ramp and go for the kill, while the other one actually plays a different angle, and that distracts the opponent, allowing this guy to jump up, hit him with a surprising 100 damage to the head, making it an easy fight to win. Here's how to hit shots on a moving target when you're trying to snipe. You can see this guy has one shot left in his sniper. He's peeking, and what he actually does is aims to the right of his opponent and a bit lower. So that way when his opponent ducks back down, that shot is almost guaranteed to hit. It's basically like pre-aiming where your opponent's going to move. This is a clip of somebody using the subconscious mind to actually get more kills in Fortnite. You can see he knocked that guy with the MK7, but without noticing, he's looking for an opponent until he sees a sniper shot whiz by his head. Then he finds the target, locks onto the target and shoots. If that target did not take that random sniper shot trying to hit him, he would have lived, because this guy would not have found where the opponent was. So it's always the small things in Fortnite that tend to get you killed. Here's how to win super crunchy box fights in Fortnite. You can see that this guy actually aggresses on the opponent that's on his wall. This way it offsets the balance of the fight because the opponent wasn't expecting it. That is the only thing that won this fight. It was just a psychological trick to make his opponent scared, even though there was no reason to be, because he was the one who was actually instigating the fight. Here is a perfect example of how to win 1v2s. Note, the opponents are not the best players in the world, but the way that this guy plays it is pretty smart. So you're going to notice he jumps, trying to go for a jump shot to deal more damage, didn't find it, is messing around with a left hand peek. He knows there's an opponent below, so he moves to the left to give him a slightly elevated position. Unfortunately, only hits his opponent for 26, but that edit completely throws him off because he edited it and moved with momentum, meaning his opponent could not see that far up, and he actually ended up flanking him very simply. Puts him in a box for the finish, so that way he does not take any damage and he has that added protection, and that's literally all it takes to win fights. So I was analyzing Fortnite clips and I came across this one. Notice how this guy is actually holding multiple teams in zone, but notice how he's doing it. First of all, when this opponent actually edits this wall, you're going to see him actually use 100% accuracy max efficiently. Now this is because he does not have an MK7, so he knows how to use the Ranger assault rifle. He's also using the natural rock as cover from his opponents who are clearly aiming in at him all that way away. Now, in a second, you're going to see him hit a snipe on one of these guys, which doesn't eliminate him, but it actually balances off the fight, because that means them guys are now afraid of our guys that we're spectating, but they have such a far distance to rotate, and these guys here know that they're weak, so it's going to make the fight extremely easy to win. Here's how to hit snipes on people that have just so much high ground on you. Notice how he aims to the right above his head, so when he takes a few steps back, that is actually going to directly hit him. Here's how to win duo box fights, especially when your opponent is super aggressive. You're going to know that the two guys we're spectating currently have the majority of piece control, and they're playing very close, compact towards each other. They're basically in the same box at all times. The opponent does get one metal wall and escapes. You can see Air Guy here is looking to make sure nobody's behind him and nobody's trying to take piece control. On top of that, he pops off a med miss to give himself that extra bit of HP. He edits in to support his teammate. He does a bottom left Dorito edit, which is not the most optimal, but it did enough to save his teammate's life, and you're going to see another third party coming in here now, and basically it's just perfect, okay, because these guys have the majority of piece control, and that process is going to repeat over and over again every single box fight you're in. Here's a perfect example of target analysis. We can see that Air Guy is looking for an opponent. He finds him and he's waiting for the right time to actually beam him. So he's going to stay up on high ground. He edits that off to make sure he has a clear vision and he's not out in the open. When he sees his opponent right here, you are going to witness one hell of a beam. His opponent comes through midair. He's trying to aim. He finds the target. Aim assist kicks in. He hits a few shots. But what's important is the fact that he ducks back down. Not enough people do that. Here is a perfect analysis of actually how to pull people out of the air on super high sense. We can see Air Guy is playing on an insane, crazy high sense for his ADS sense. That should be low. But this allows him to actually hit very good beams because he knows how to control it. Watch when these guys pad how much beams he gets on this team. Like, look, It's actually insane, but watch and analyze how he does it. When he finds a target, he just snaps between them, and that's what's called micro flicking. It's not tracking, it's micro flicking. It's a series of super small flicks that enable him to actually track on such a high sensitivity. This short has been made for the purpose of telling you, do not do what this guy's doing. You can see he is building an absolute skyscraper, wasting all of his materials, and I know that's a pretty obvious tip, but here's where it changes. You should only build a 1x1 or a 2x2 in solos. Do not waste any more materials than that. That is the absolute maximum, because if not, you're going to have no mats when it comes to endgame, and that's going to force you to get a pick, which will absolutely ruin your game. This short has been made for the purpose of telling you how to hit targets when you are moving at a high speed. You can see that Air Guy on the quad right now actually was able to hit a devastating shot even though he's moving at high speeds. He does this by aiming slightly above the opponent's head, making it a perfect shot. Here's how overpowered the visualized sound effects are in Fortnite. You're going to see Air Guy hit the floor right here, and he's about 20 meters away from his opponent. And he knows where he is. This is the groundbreaking thing about visualized sound. He knows he's actually healing. So he's able to hop in the room, full box him, spray him with the SMG, and completely eliminate him. And the opponent does not even know where he's coming from until he dies. Here's how to win aggressive box fights without taking any damage. So you're going to see he goes in and he's going to place a ramp. Flips that ramp. His opponent goes up the ramp. He jump shots and hits his opponent for like 24 damage. Pops his AOR out, does more damage. He knows his opponent is white health and he has no shield. And he realizes it's safe to actually jump in his box. But by being that aggressive, it stopped his opponent from hitting him through the wall. Here's the most efficient way to piece control in Fortnite Chapter 3. Notice how we all stay in the same box 90% of the time. I'm actually the guy at the front in this gameplay, and my teammate is the guy we're spectating. He pulls out the harpoon, which is still the most effective way to piece control in team-based game mode. You're going to notice that we piece control and own 90% of these builds by the time we get to the other side, and our opponents actually take a pad because they're that afraid of how efficiently we're piece controlling, and we basically got no kills, but it was still great to show off this, I guess, legendary status of piece control. Here's the most efficient way to win 1v2s. Basically, what's happening right now is that Air Guy does a bottom Dorito edit which throws the opponent off, especially in such a close range box fight. He actually claims as much piece control as he possibly can, realizes where the other opponent is. So now that he knows where the other opponent is, he's going to actually go and pick up some of the materials because he knows he's going to need mats to win this fight. He's actually trying to claim downwards just so he has an exit route, but he knows his opponent's about to jump on him. He goes up through the roof, he does a 180, drops his opponent down, and he does the bottom Dorito edit once again and moves to the right, just so that way it throws his opponent off a little bit more. This clip right here is actually going to teach you a lot about Fortnite. What happens is that the opponent below us has rebooted his full trio and we're on high ground. So what actually happens is we drop down off high ground and we're looking for angles. Now we keep continuously scuffing shots, but what's really important is that the SMG is super consistent, and once we're locked onto his head, we're basically stuck. Now we know there's more people around in the area, so we go up to high ground, we check around, we notice there's nothing really going on. So we hop back down, we get our finish just to get all those materials, get all of the weapons, whatever we can, just to upgrade, because we know there's more people eventually going to come at us. So what do? We go and take high ground. We notice there is another opponent down below us. He's probably trying to get his teammates loot, but we piece him up, we box him up. Again, we scuff the shot. It's not the best shots that we could hit. We're constantly playing right hand peek and staying on high ground until we accidentally fell. And using the sniper right now, you're going to see us take some elite levels of piece control and trying to break his wall. When he eventually falls, basically he just gets boxed, coned, and eliminated straight away without basically any damage done. We're going to analyze one of my favorite fighting scenarios that I've ever seen in Fortnite Chapter 3. You're going to see that Air Guy actually gets beamed. He hits his opponent and continuously plays right hand angles. And you're going to see that his opponent over aggresses, not realizing that he's just walking into traps over and over again. This piece control is pretty elite for a guy playing on such a high sensitivity. And the precision that he's able to hit with those shots are kind of crazy. You're going to see him use the webs to actually reclaim high ground. He crouches and his opponent does not hear him. He knows it's smart to swap to the MK7 because it's going to do more damage because it is a spray weapon. He boxes his opponent. He actually just eliminates him very simply, realizes there's someone else in his box, and hits nearly every shot with that MK7 to scare his opponent away. And now he knows he's able to go on the aggressive and win that fight, but he's smart, so he doesn't. He actually chills out for a minute, pops some heals before he goes to actually eliminate his opponent. When the opponent hears him popping heals, here's what happens. His opponent actually hops on the wall, and Air Guy is just playing constantly aggressive, which threw the opponent off so much.